Okay, we are live. This is National Sales Director Leah Lauchlan, and this is a training video that wraps up phase 2 of our Incredible Pacesetters series. We had phase 1 in the fall, and we're wrapping up phase 2, and we're actually moving on to phase 3 in April to wrap up the seminar year. And so I wanted to finish with a class that I've titled, This is Who We Are, and This is How We Roll. And I'm going to explain where kind of where my thoughts are coming from with this. And I want to really just talk about qualities of leaders, qualities that our Unleashed area sales directors have, and qualities that are important to develop as you move up into leadership as a consultant. And so, first of all, I just want to celebrate the growth that has happened this year. Although we've talked about a lot of different things in our Pacesetters program, and we've had a lot of different things we've focused on, our primary focus has been building leaders and supporting consultants to moving up into red, and supporting directors to build red jackets and build leaders in their unit. So that's been our primary focus, and I just want to celebrate how many reds that we have added and that have been promoted and that have been new this year, and even some reds who have come back and recommitted to their business. It's just been an exciting movement to watch, you guys, and the floodgates have only just begun to open. Like, we are just getting started. So get excited, because I want you to be a part of this massive momentum and movement that is happening in our area. And right now, you guys, we are ranked number 9 in all of Pearl for the amount of red jackets that are in our area. So that is pretty exciting, and they haven't seen nothing yet, because watch out, here we come. And one thing that I've learned over the past couple of years, and this really came from a book that I read on the power of habit. And one of the concepts in that book is that habits create culture. Habits create culture. And this is just a very intriguing thought to me. But the individual choices and habits of people within an organization create and develop the culture of that organization. And unless the leader or leaders in that group of people is intentional about the culture they want to create and develop, culture always develops. There will always be a culture, but it just may not be something positive, and it may not be something you want to stand for. And this happens at large levels with large organizations, you guys, and it happens in small ways, in families and in homes. The choices and the habits that mom and dad model become the culture of the family, and the kids model those same choices and habits and patterns and behaviors. And so Mary Kay Ash herself, I believe, was brilliant when she set up this company, because she stood for certain habits that she wanted her company to be known for. Okay, so the Go Give Spirit, God first, family second, career third, the adoptee program, the focus on leadership and passing it on, the focus on making a difference, the focus on people. She stood for and modeled these habits. And the Mary Kay culture, I believe, is still around and strong and thriving and growing today because of how Mary Kay Ash led the way in the habits that she created. And so we want to do the same thing in our national area, in the Unleashed area. We want to create a culture that Mary Kay would be proud of, and a culture that can be a light in this world. Not only Mary Kay the company, but a light in this world, because of the individual habits and choices we all have in our national area. And so that's what this class is all about. It's about who we want to be, and it's about how we roll, and it's about the qualities of leadership that we want to develop and be known for in our national area. And so as I was pondering this whole concept of habits create culture a couple of years ago, I started writing down statements and phrases of what I want our area to be known for. And these have become our kind of our national area affirmations. And we had this beautiful mural painted at our Cincinnati studio with all of these statements on there. And it's just a beautiful, inspirational statement of who we are and how we roll. And I want to read them to you first, and then we're going to talk about 10 qualities of a leader. And I kind of connected these qualities to our affirmations. Okay, so let me read you the affirmations. We embrace discipline and adversity. We are risk takers. We are comfortable being uncomfortable. We are world-class leaders. We pray and seek God. We have calloused knees and calloused hands. We have crystal clear vision. We see failure as an opportunity to grow. We are all in. We can do hard things. We are intentional. We act with boldness and audacity. We are faithful and godly. We respect deadlines and we work with urgency. We think it's tragically unhip to procrastinate. We are obsessive trackers. We are others focused. We are always dressed and prepared for success. We are problem solvers. Quitting is not an option for us. We encourage and affirm others. We are women of integrity. We are eager to learn. We dream big. We think consistency is sexy. We celebrate work ethic. We don't do drama. We reject excuses. We are willing and we are motivated. That is who we are, and that is how we roll. And so in this training video, I'm going to connect these two qualities of leadership and just dig a little bit deeper in what some of these statements mean and how to really live these out in a practical way in your life and in your business. So number 1 of 10, we are women of integrity. We are faithful and godly. We pray and seek God. I connected all those affirmations to this first quality of leadership. And at our fall advance this past year, our sales directors had on Friday this team building program that we participated in on Friday afternoon. And then, of course, consultants showed up and the event started Friday evening. And so got to spend the day with our sales directors. And we did this team building initiative program, which we had never done before together. And it ended up being this really incredible experience for all of our sales directors. But we did all these little team building activities. And one of them is that they split us up into 2 groups. And our leaders gave us cards. And there might have been like 15 to 20 cards. And each card had a word on it and then an explanation of what that word stood for. And they were qualities like honesty, diversity, communication, leadership, and, on and on and on. They were just positive words and qualities of leaders. And so we were to look at those 15 to 20 cards and pick 3 that we thought were most important. And each group was doing this, and we couldn't hear or see what the other group was choosing. So we were to choose 3. And so we had actually a very interesting conversation about what's most important and, what qualities you need to have as a leader. And so our group picked our 3. We picked our 3 that we thought were most important. And then they revealed what each group chose. And so one by one, they turned the cards over what each of us chose. And so the first one they turned over was character. And kind of fun to find out, the other group had chose that too. So we both chosen character, which was pretty, that's a pretty important quality. And then they turned over the second one. The second one was positive attitude. And guess what? The other group had chosen positive attitude too. And then they turned over the third card that we had chosen, and it was communication. And guess what? The other group had chosen the exact same 3 cards out of 15 to 20 and ranked them in the same order of importance that we believed that they should be in. And we really celebrated that. It was really fun and exciting the moment we realized we all chose the same 3 cards and ranked them in the same order. It was just a big celebration and awesome to know that we are like-minded, and we value the same things as leaders. And the number 1 card we chose was character. Because, without it, what do you have? Without character, what do you have? This has to be the foundation for every leader in every business and every life, and it's absolutely necessary in building relationships of trust, which is what we do in Mary Kay with our customers first and also with the team that we lead. And I believe that true, genuine integrity and character are developed as we grow spiritually and as you grow in your relationship with God. And so some questions for you. Are you known for doing what you say you're going to do? Like, are you known for that? Are you reliable? Do you keep your word? Are you known for returning phone calls and texts and boxes in a timely manner? Or do you not call people back and just take a while to get back to them, even though they're asking and requesting a response or a reply? Do you show up on time? Are you known for being there when you say you're going to be there? Something that we don't do in our area is play hide and seek. Okay, hide and seek is what I'll explain what I mean by that. When you're seeking someone out, so let's say your director, it means you want her attention, you need some information from her, you need her support, and so you are seeking her out and expecting a response from her and expecting her support. But then let's say things go a little off in your business, you're not feeling great about Mary Kay, and she's trying to get a hold of you and expecting and wanting a response and a reply and wanting communication, but you are hiding and you're not responding to her, not replying to her because you just don't feel you don't feel great about your business. And that is one thing we just don't do in our national area. We do not play hide and seek. You know, if you're not feeling great about your business and don't want to communicate, that's okay, but communicate that. Tell your director, you know what, I'm not feeling so great today. Let's check back in tomorrow. But to hide and fall off the face of the earth and not respect her enough to give her a response, that is just not how we roll, okay? So do your words have value, or are you known for just talking the talk? Who you are is really defined by your behavior, not by your words. We can say a lot, but it's our behavior that really speaks the loudest. And behavior never lies. Behavior always sends a message. It reveals commitment, character, and what you're really made of. There should not be a disconnect between what we say and what we do. Spoken words and actions have got to be consistent. And you might say that you're a professional and that you respect other people's time, but then you're kind of known for always showing up late and being unprepared. So your behavior carries more weight than the words that you say. Sometimes we think nobody notices, but people do. I guarantee that people notice, and a lapse of integrity is something you can't hide forever, and you will definitely not build a successful business and be a successful leader without this character and integrity piece. And so let your yes be yes, and let your no be no. And let's all build a business based on integrity and character. And let's not have a contradiction in what we say and what we do. Let's have that be consistent. Number 2, we are motivated. You know, we talk a lot in Mary Kay about finding sharp women, but I say we look for and we also act like motivated women. Motivated women. I don't care if she doesn't look sharp. If she's motivated, you have found somebody who has the potential to be a leader. So let's talk about what motivation looks like and what motivates you. I bet if I asked you what you want in your life, you could probably give me a long list. It's pretty easy to make a list of things that we want and things that we desire, but not as easy to take action, consistent action on that list. And so how is your personal list going? How's that list going for you? Because if you're not actually taking action on the things that you want, that shows that there's little to no motivation or willingness to do what it takes to achieve some of the things that you want. And you know, the funny thing is that we think we have time. We think we have time. We all do. We think we have time to make more money. We want more money. We need more money. Are we doing anything right now in our lives to make more money? Maybe not, because we think we have time. We think we have time to figure that out. We think we have time to get out of debt. We think we have time to lose weight, get healthy, spend quality time with our kids, get right with God and live in obedience, improve our relationships, get our finances straight, work on our marriage. We think we have time. And so we don't take it that seriously today. And we don't realize that we need to take action on those things today because our days are numbered. And time continues to go on with or without us, and whether we're aware of it or not. And all of a sudden, a year goes by and nothing's changed. Nothing on the list of things you want has changed because there's been no willingness to take action on those things. When I turned 30, I asked my mom, I said, when you were in your 40s and 50s, what do you wish you would have done when you were in your 30s? I asked her that question. And she mentioned a couple of things, but the one thing that I remembered, and I don't know why this is the one I remember, but she said I would have never lost my muscle tone. And I took that very seriously. I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah. And she's like, because once you lose it, it's difficult to get it back. You have to work super hard to get it back and not as hard just to maintain it. So I will always lift weights and exercise. But the more serious question is, in 10, 20 years, what will you have wished you had done? Or what will you be glad you can say that you did do? Because it's amazing how quickly this time passes and how quickly we move through life. And if we're not intentional and aware of the time passing and the choices that we're making, all of a sudden there's regret, and we're living with regret because of what we chose not to be intentional about. And here's what I know about Mary Kay. It really is just an avenue to give you more. Plain and simple. It's just a business opportunity for more, depending on what you're looking for. But you've got to take the action. You've got to be motivated enough to take action on what you want more of. And I would bet a lot of money on the fact that Mary Kay could provide something of what you're looking for. something, tangible or intangible, because Mary Kay speaks to a woman's heart. It's a timeless business opportunity that's been around for over 50 years that speaks to a woman's heart and helps us to achieve things that we really want. And so there's some questions I asked in the beginning of this Pacesetters call that I'm going to ask you again. You know, it's been about 2.5 to 3 months since we had that first call, so I'm going to ask you these questions again. And they're all about what we value as women. And I want you to think, because I bet you value these things, but are you taking action on these things? And are you acting like you're motivated to really get some of these things that you want? And I would say the first thing we value is going to be relationships, family, and faith. That's pretty high on my list of priorities. And we work for a company, and we're a part of a company that does really believe in God first, family second, and career third. And so are you living that out right now? And are you making choices that show that you are putting God first? You're putting your family second, and then your career behind that. Your career third, not 33rd, but third. When do we feel our best as women? I don't know about you, but I think it's when we are confident in who we are and who God's created us to be, even with our flaws, because we can be confident even with flaws. We're never expected to be perfect. And so we grow in confidence, I believe, when we stretch ourselves and step out of our comfort zone. And Mary Kay basically forces you to grow or stretch yourself in some way. And you can't do Mary Kay for very long before you are required to step outside of your comfort zone to go to the next level. And that builds confidence. And I think that's when we feel our best as women, when we're confident. When do we feel a sense of security as women? I think it's when we can take care of our families and when we have a future to provide for our families. And Mary Kay is an avenue for income and security to be able to take care of your family. When do we feel freedom as women? When do we feel freedom? And I believe it's when we have autonomy and when we can design our lives around our priorities and when we're in control of how we live our lives and when we have the flexibility to live a prioritized life. And you don't have that same kind of freedom when you work 40 hours a week for someone else. But when you work for yourself, you have the freedom and flexibility to design a life that you love. What's going to make us feel like we're leaving a legacy? I think it's when we make a difference to other people and when we change this world one person at a time. And I was at Tammy Craik's January Jumpstart back a couple of months ago, and I taught a class about working this business while having kids. And I just talked about how much I've loved the time that I've had with my kids and that I get to spend a lot of time with my children because I work in my home and can design the time that I want to spend with them. But more than that, more than the time, you guys, because I love the time and flexibility that I have, but more than that, what I love and I'm grateful for is the person I've become for my kids. I really believe that I'm a better mom and a stronger woman for them because of what I've learned from building my Mary Kay business. And I look back, and if I would have stayed teaching, which was sort of my life plan at the time Mary Kay came into my life, I probably would have stayed at home once we had kids. It wouldn't have financially made sense for me to teach for the income that I was making and then pay for childcare. It just wouldn't have made sense. So I would have stayed at home, and that's something I've always really wanted to do. So I would have maybe had more time with them. I would have been home all day with no other career or commitments or responsibility. But I wouldn't be who I am today. And I know that I wouldn't be. And I wouldn't have had the avenue of growth to grow into the best version of myself like Mary Kay has taught me to do. And I wouldn't have been able to give my kids the best version of me, which I'm so grateful that I can give them that. And we have such a focus on personal growth in Mary Kay that it continues, like you never arrive. You continue to grow because it's such a priority in the Mary Kay culture. Okay, and then when do we buy ourselves things like diamond rings and trips around the world and luxury cars? I don't know about you, but I never did before Mary Kay. So in Mary Kay, we can earn these things. We can earn these things. And I think that's the really fun part of this business that Mary Kay created. She gave women a way to work hard, to earn things that we love and that we enjoy and that make us feel beautiful and special, but that we're usually not willing to buy for ourselves. And so Mary Kay can give you more of what you're looking for. So let's identify what we want more of and then have a willingness to take action, because that's what motivation is about, is taking action on the things that you really want. And just to share with you, really some things that I'm most grateful for in my Mary Kay business. Do we have time for that? How long has it been? Okay, yeah. Okay, so flexibility at home. I mean, that's high on the things that high on my list of things that I really appreciate and enjoy. Now that comes with work ethic. You know, we enjoy the luxuries of being entrepreneurs, which is unlimited income and unlimited flexibility. But we don't enjoy those luxuries of being an entrepreneur without the work ethic of being an entrepreneur. And I celebrate that and I love that. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit later in this class. So I have always been willing to maybe work a little bit longer and a little bit harder so that I can have control over my life and be able to design my life the way that I want to live my life. And the nice thing with Mary Kay as an NSD is that you really have the choice to work less hours and you have a lot of freedom and flexibility in your schedule, but you make more money. And your overhead, your expenses don't increase, which is sort of unheard of in the business world. Usually as you gain responsibility and get promoted, your overhead and your expenses increase, but not in Mary Kay. And just have a great level of freedom and flexibility in my schedule. And I'm able to have quiet time in the morning, which I know a lot of working moms just can't fit that in between getting themselves ready and the kids ready and out the door. There's not time unless they get up at 4 a.m. to have a quiet time, but I'm able to do that. I'm able to have a quiet time each day. There's no rushing or stress or nothing frantic about our day in the morning because that's my time to spend with my kids. And sometimes we just have a lazy morning together. And sometimes we go to the Y and work out. And we go to a Bible study every Wednesday morning together, and I'm able to take them to gymnastics on certain days of the week. And so I'm just able to spend that time with them and have that flexibility, and I'm grateful for that. And you know, I work hard in my Mary Kay business and I'm disciplined with my schedule, but my day-to-day life is exactly how I've planned it, exactly how I've designed it, and exactly what I want it to be. And with 3 small children at home, I cannot imagine what my life would be without that level of freedom and flexibility. You guys, I don't count vacation days. I don't work on holidays. I usually don't work on the weekends. And there are seasons of my business that I work longer and harder hours, but that's because of my choosing. And I feel empowered because I can design my life. And, you know, when it comes to hard work, I've learned to say this. I learned this from Brandon Barber, is that I get to, I choose to, and I want to work my business. I don't have to. I don't need to. I get to. I choose to, and I want to. Mary Kay has been a great vehicle for spiritual growth for me. And I grew up in a Christian home. I went to a Christian college, and all my friends were Christians. So I grew up in that environment. But it wasn't until I was in Mary Kay that I got stretched and that I really grew a lot spiritually, because there's just something about this business that forces you to rely on God and not on yourself. And have also had more godly mentors speak into my life through Mary Kay than I had before Mary Kay. Some other fun stuff, you guys. There's intangible things that you gain in Mary Kay, and there are tangible things. And one of them is making a great income. I started making a 6-figure income at the age of 24. And by the time I was 30, I had made $1 million in commissions in Mary Kay. It has allowed us to live completely debt-free. And we enjoy the choices that money can buy, from little things like being able to eat out and not stressing about the bill, to bigger things like vacations. And we've been able to send Cliff to law school, which was around $60,000, and we were able to pay for it in cash without taking out loans. We're able to give more to our church and to our family and to people in need. We've earned 6 trips to exotic locations, and we will take an NSD trip every year for the next 35 years, all paid for by Mary Kay. We've stayed in 5-star hotels. We've eaten at 5-star restaurants. I've been at the most luxurious spas in the whole world. I've earned 6 free cars, 4 of them being pink Cadillacs, and I've earned all kinds of ridiculous prizes and diamonds, and the list goes on and on and on and on. And so although I do not value those tangible things as much as the intangible things, they're a lot of fun too, and they do give you a lot of choices. And so I hope you're convinced that you can get more out of Mary Kay and more out of your life through the Mary Kay business opportunity. But let's be motivated to work hard for it. Let's be motivated to take action on those things that you want. Okay, let's move on to number 3. Number 3 is we are problem solvers and we reject excuses. And one of the main attitude characteristics or mindsets that I think is important in Mary Kay is that of a problem solver. Whenever you're faced with a problem, there is always a way around it. There's always a way through it. There's always a way to fix it, and there's always a way to figure it out. You just have to have that mindset. And so when faced with a challenge, have you developed the skill of working through it and figuring it out? Or does a challenge or an obstacle always stop you dead in your tracks? And you just stop right there and throw your hands in the air and throw in the towel and say, this is too hard. Because in Mary Kay, you got to learn to work through that stuff. And so how do you react when something goes wrong? In the book, Secrets of the World Class, the author talks about the middle class mindset, and it's not an economic status, it's just a mindset status. And it says that the middle class usually choose an attitude of frustration when faced with adversity and obstacles, while world-class thinkers and leaders choose to be grateful, and they defer to grateful. Even when faced with challenge, world-class thinkers focus on what they're grateful for and what is happening and what they do have versus what they don't have, and caving to this attitude of frustration. And so let's just have a no excuses allowed policy and accept 100% personal responsibility for your life and for working through the problems that you face. And you can have one of two perspectives. And you can always have these with everything that you face. You can have one of two perspectives. You can focus on and see obstacles, or you can see opportunities. And the funny thing is that they're both always there for all of us. We all have obstacles. We all have opportunities. You get to choose your perspective, though. And problem solvers choose to see the opportunities, and they choose to focus on what they're grateful for. And therefore, their eyes are up looking at opportunities. The obstacles are down at their feet, but because they're focused on the opportunities, they're maneuvering through those obstacles successfully. And they're stepping over them, and they're working through them, and they're finding a way anyways. Or you can focus on the obstacles. When you focus on the obstacles, your head is down, and that's all you see. You just see the obstacles at your feet, and you just keep tripping over them because that's all you can see. It's all you're choosing to see. And if you would just lift your head up and look at the opportunities in front of your face, you won't maneuver through the obstacles. So what perspective do you have? Do you see opportunities, or do you see obstacles right now? They're both there. You just get to choose what you focus on. Okay, number 4. We are always dressed and prepared for success. And this makes me think of events in Mary Kay. Events are a very important part of our business. From our weekly schedule, weekly events that you go to bigger events that our area puts on, to the huge events that the company puts on for us. We are about events because that is where you grow. That's where you grow personally. And the world is run by people who show up. It's like a universal law. The people who show up are the people who end up calling the shots. They're moving into leadership, they're making decisions, and they're making changes. And in Mary Kay, the people who show up go up. And so, do you consistently show up at events? Do you go to your weekly meeting every week and ready to help and ready to encourage and ready to give to that meeting? Or do you only go when you have a guest? Or will you only go when you had a good week and you might be the queen of sales? Okay, because you want to go with an attitude of what can I give, not an attitude of what can I get out of this. What about our area events? Are you committed to going? Are they on your calendar? What about the company events? Because people who show up go up. And it's important to invest in these events because it's going to be a big part of you moving up. When you hear people's stories who've been successful, probably 99%, if not even 100% of them say, here was a turning point. It happened at an event. And that's my story too. Seminar 2006 that I really caught the vision. I caught the vision at an event. And so you guys move heaven and earth to show up at the Mary Kay events that we provide for you and that we offer, because it's going to support the growth in your business and in your life. In the book, Millionaires, The Millionaire Next Door, they did a study of millionaires in America. And what they found is that millionaires spend quite a bit of money and make a large investment in their own personal growth and in the growth of their business. And then they spend far less money on entertainment. Well, the rest of America, who are not millionaires, were exact opposite. They spent quite a bit of money on entertainment and little to no money on personal growth and investing in themselves. So you want to be a millionaire? act like a millionaire and invest in you and show up at events, and don't just show up on time and dressed and prepared for success. Okay, number 5, we are eager to learn. We are eager to learn. And there's 4 different points I want to make in this one. And the first is just having a coachable and teachable attitude. There's this unique sisterhood in Mary Kay, and a mentor-mentee relationship always exists between usually a consultant and a director, or a director and her senior director, or a director and her national, or a consultant and her national. But usually there's always that mentor-mentee relationship. Mary Kay is not like corporate America, which is usually every man or woman for him or herself. And it's kind of seen as a sign of weakness to ask questions or get help, but not in Mary Kay. Every person who has moved up has usually, if not always, been mentored by someone that has gone before her and that has coached her through the process of developing her leadership. Therefore, being coachable and teachable is going to be really important. And being coachable and teachable with your director and with your national is going to be a huge part of you moving up. You can't do it alone. And we don't want you to do it alone. And you may not always agree with what your director or national says or asks you to do, and that's okay. It's not about agreeing, but it's about being coachable and teachable and willing to receive her instruction and her leading and her coaching and her guidance. Number 2, part of being eager to learn is initiating communication. I can always tell how much money a new consultant is going to make by how much she communicates with me. Communication is a huge part of this business, and leaders initiate communication, and they're willing to do that. They don't play hide and seek like I talked about before. They don't just think they can do it on their own. They seek out guidance through effective and consistent and daily communication. The third point I want to make under this, under number 5, is that we embrace accountability in Mary Kay. And that's sort of along the same lines of communication. We're willing to be accountable on a daily and weekly basis, because accountability sharpens your edge. And it's easy to be unaccountable. It's easy to not check in, to not turn in your numbers, to not show up at the meeting, but you do pay a high price for a lack of accountability. And so do you turn in your Gen X numbers? Because I know it takes a big girl to turn them in when they say 0. I had to do that a couple times as a consultant when I was in Julia's unit, turn in a Gen X sheet that didn't look so hot. But still, that accountability makes you better, and it builds your character. And so do you turn it in? Do you consistently show up at unit and area events? Do you Vox your director after every appointment? Are you in communication and willing to be accountable? Because leaders embrace accountability because they're eager to learn and to grow. And then the 4th point in this about being eager to learn is to be a lifelong learner. The books that you read and the people that you spend the most time with are going to have a direct impact on who you are and where you're going to be in your life in the next 5 years. The books that you read, the people you spend time with. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to be in the same place 5 years from now. I want to see growth, and I want to see that I'm growing and stretching as a person and as a leader. And learning from books and people should just be as normal as like food and air. You guys, it's not a luxury, but a necessity in your life to learn and grow from people and books. And so what's speaking into your life the most right now? Who are the 5 people or the 5 groups of people that you spend the most time with? Because we're powerfully influenced by what and who we are exposed to. Because you become what you think about. You think about what you're exposed to. And then what you think about is who you become. And our minds think about what it is most exposed to. So what enters your mind, it then occupies your mind, and then it shapes your reality. And so if you're exposing your mind to a bunch of junk and a bunch of negativity and drama and negative relationships, that really is shaping and molding you into that kind of person. And so think about it. What's the main things you're exposing your mind to on a daily basis? You guys, from the social media that you follow, to the television shows that you watch, to the music that you listen to the books that you read or don't read if you're not in the habit of doing that. Everything, every day we're exposed to something. So what are you exposed to, and what kind of impact is it having on your life and your performance? There's indecencies, like indecent exposure. And some of those things are, things like violence and gossip and sarcasm and angry, dramatic relationships and jealousy and mediocrity and excuses and fear and worry. And so if those things are a part of your life, how can you cut them out? And what can you add so that you're exposing yourself to things that are growing and stretching your heart, your mind, and your soul? Okay, number 6, we are willing, we are obsessive trackers, and we think consistency is sexy. Let's talk about being willing. Let's talk about tracking. Let's talk about consistency. Let me check the time here. Okay. Leaders have a willingness to work the numbers, a willingness to work the numbers before they see results. And I'll tell you this story about when I was in DIQ, and then I'm going to tell you why I know this story. You know, when I was in DIQ, I did like 20 career surveys one month and got 0 recruits. And you know, when you're in DIQ, I mean, you need to make big things happen in a short amount of time. And so, yeah, so that happened. 20 career surveys, 0 recruits. But then I went on the next month, and within the first couple of days had recruited a lot of people, and of course went on to finish DIQ. But you guys, I only know that story and halfway vaguely remember it because Julia tells that story. And she told that story, I think, when I was in DIQ as a new director, and she's told it a couple of times just to make the point that leaders have a willingness to work the numbers even if they're not seeing results when they want to. Because I just kept going. I just kept going and eventually worked through DIQ. But when I look back at that, you guys, I was just happy to do the activity. And I was told that the numbers would work out and that I just needed to focus on the activity. And so that's what I did. I don't remember being that discouraged by it or that tripped up by it because I knew I was just focusing on what I can control, and that I had to control the controllables and have a willingness to work hard, and that the numbers would eventually follow, which is what they did. And so that's what leaders do. Leaders have a willingness to keep on working even when they don't see the fruit of their labor immediately. And if that hasn't happened to you yet, Mary Kay, you guys, it will. A time will come when you work really hard one month and it doesn't look like you have anything to show for it. But that's okay. Keep going. Keep going. It's happened to all of us. Don't worry. Next month, you'll have more momentum and more growth, and it usually takes a 90-day cycle of working with consistency to see anything really exciting happen. And so just keep going and have that willingness. Some succeed because they cheerfully pay the price that others are unwilling to pay. There's a quote by Zig Ziglar that I love, and he says, "There ain't no free lunch. There ain't no free lunch. Everything costs something, and there's a price to pay for success." And it a lot of times has a willingness, means that you have a willingness to do the work. And there are consequences for unwillingness. You know, pay the price of hard work now, because I'd rather pay that price than to pay the price of lack of growth in my life and lack of success. But you will have to pay the price of success up front. And in Mary Kay, we have a willingness to work the numbers. And here are some of the numbers. Half of what you book is going to hold. 1 out of every 4 to 5 women you share the opportunity with will sign. Half of the guests that you have confirmed will show up, only half. So if you have 1 confirmed, you really don't have anybody coming. And then out of 10 referrals, you'll usually probably book 4 to 5 parties and only hold 2 to 3 of them. And so leaders know those numbers and they respect those numbers. And in Mary Kay, everything happens in a 90-day cycle. And so what you were doing in your business 90 days ago has a big impact on the results that you're seeing right now. Also, tracking. You cannot change what you do not know. You do not know what you do not track. So not only do we want you to work the numbers, we want you to track them. And I know some of you are natural trackers and you like eat this stuff up, and some of you hate that I'm talking about tracking right now, but a tracked number grows. A tracked number grows, and I know that you want your numbers to grow. Also, something that Darren Hardy has said is, because he's a big tracker too, he's a big advocate for tracking things, and he said tracking cures what ails you. If you have a weight problem, track what you're eating. If you have a money problem, track what you're spending, because that tracking leads to awareness, which leads to changed behavior, which leads to positive results. And then consistency. Let's talk about consistency. I always say in the beginning that nobody would have voted for me as the most likely to succeed in Mary Kay. I did not have a lot of natural skill or raw talent or ability or experience that you need to be successful in Mary Kay, but I made up for it, you guys, with hard work and consistency. A quote by Darren Hardy, he says that most people don't conquer their dreams because it's hard freaking work. Will Smith says that where I excel is not natural talent, but in ridiculous, sickening work ethic. Work ethic can take you many, many places in your life and in Mary Kay, even if you don't naturally have a lot of raw talent. But dreams are expensive. And the bigger they are, the more they're going to cost you in blood, sweat, tears, and work. And hard work and consistency, it was and it always will be my secret weapon to success. Because if I wasn't winning or accomplishing in the moment, you guys, you just give me enough time and I'm going to figure it out. Because I'm so confident in my consistency and my willingness to keep going and to keep doing the hard and scary things that need to be done to get the job done or the goal finished. I just know how to plod. Like I can just keep on plodding. I can plod away. So can you trust yourself? Can you trust yourself and trust your own personal level of consistency? Are you confident in your own personal consistency and daily choices and habits that are moving your business forward? As you know, I follow Darren Hardy, and he has interviewed John Maxwell a couple of times. And when his book came out, The 15 Laws of Growth, Darren Hardy interviewed him about it. And John Maxwell says that people will always ask him what his favorite law of growth is of the 15. And can you guess what his answer is? His answer is consistency. But he went on to say that when he tells people that, when he's like, yeah, it's consistency, that people are always a little disappointed by that answer because it's consistency. It's like not sexy. It's so mundane and it's just like, oh, day in, day out consistency. It's just not inspiring. People want to hear something more sexy and edgy. But there is incredible power and there's a compounding effect that is undeniable when you work consistently. Small, insignificant daily choices equal massive momentum. And it goes both ways. Small choices that aren't positive lead to failure, and then great choices that are moving you forward lead to success. Every choice compounds. And I just had a willingness to do whatever it took without questioning, doubting, pausing, or floundering. I learned that imperfect action is always better than perfect procrastination. And I didn't wait till things were perfect. I didn't wait till I got good at it or I had it all figured out. I just was obedient every day to do the best I could with what I had and to honor the calling that I had received and just to keep going and work with consistency. I never did it perfectly, never have, probably never will, but I was obedient, willing, consistent, and available to my business. And therefore, that means I was in front of people all the time. And when you're in front of people all the time, things are going to happen. You're going to grow your business, your unit, and your future area. Okay. The next one that sort of goes along with this that we've talked about, it kind of ties in with this, is that we celebrate work ethic. We celebrate work ethic and we enjoy the luxuries of being entrepreneurs, but not without the work ethic of being entrepreneurs. And I used to downplay the work ethic that it took. I would tell prospects that, like, oh, you can do it only when you want to, and it's part-time. And, if you want to hold a lot of parties, you can, but you don't have to. And, you can just do whatever you want with it. And now I don't say that. I don't say that anymore. I say, you know what? It is hard work, but it is rewarding and it's fun and you're going to grow in the process and the sky's the limit if you're willing to work hard in Mary Kay. And so I celebrate the work ethic that it takes to be successful in Mary Kay. When I got my Escalade, that draws a lot of attention, of course. And I've driven a pink Cadillac for years, but there's just something about a pink Escalade that really catches people's eye, and especially men. And men are the most common to comment on my pink Escalade. And they'll often ask this question. They say, what did you have to do to get that? And my usual answer is, I worked really, really hard. And they're like, good for you, girl. And you can tell in their face, they celebrate that, because I think deep down we all celebrate that. And I think we all feel purposeful and inspired and satisfied when we're able to work hard at something that is benefiting our lives and the lives of others. And so we celebrate work ethic. Number 8, we embrace adversity and discipline. We can do hard things. We are comfortable being uncomfortable, and we view failure as an opportunity to grow. Whew, those are heavy ones. We embrace adversity and discipline. We can do hard things. We are comfortable being uncomfortable, and we view failure as an opportunity to grow. You guys, they're easy to say, but hard to put into practice. They are. Because inconvenience and discomfort are, nobody likes them. And some people tend to think like successful people just like discipline more and they like being uncomfortable more, but it's not true. Nobody likes it. Nobody likes it, but they're just willing because of the results that inconvenience and discomfort lead to. They lead to growth and confidence and success. And successful people have made it a habit of doing things that other people are unwilling to do. And we can't always be guided by our natural preferences because our natural preferences want what's easy and what's comfortable. And you've just got to accept the fact that being uncomfortable is necessary. It's inconvenient to work out, and it's hard to work out. It's a lot easier to hit snooze. It's hard and inconvenient to forgive someone who's hurt you. It's a lot easier just to hold a grudge. It's inconvenient to teach a kid to tie his shoes. It's a lot easier to just keep buying them Velcro shoes year after year. It's hard, you guys, to cook a good meal and to plan good meals for your family. It's super easy to just go pick up fast food. It takes discipline to stay patient and peaceful in a traffic jam or in a moment of frustration. It's easy to just get angry and let those emotions flow. It's hard to take 100% responsibility. It's hard to tell the truth when it hurts. It's hard and inconvenient to go the extra mile. It's hard and inconvenient to confront problems head on and to have hard conversations versus just pretending they don't exist and ignoring the elephant in the room. So all of these things are difficult and hard, but they produce freedom and they produce success in our lives and in our relationships. And so no one likes to be inconvenienced or disciplined, but successful people embrace it anyways because they're focused on the future, not the moment. They're focused on the future, not the moment. Successful people want pleasing results. So they're willing to do unpleasing things because they want pleasing results and success. Let's talk about failure now. It's called the dreaded F word, failure. And most of us have spent our whole lives avoiding it at any cost. I remember I went to high school with a girl who was super smart and very talented, and she was just an awesome person. But she was never in the honors classes with myself and some other people, like honors English and honors science. She was never in those classes, even though she was skilled and she was super smart. And I remember talking to her about it one day, and she said, I want to be the valedictorian and have a 4.0, so I want to take the easier classes so that I can guarantee that I can get a 4.0. I mean, talk about self-sabotage. She was afraid to fail and unwilling to fail. Therefore, took lower level classes below her level of ability because she didn't want to fail. And I just think that's a sad way to live. And so we must embrace failure. And I'm not talking about failure because of lack of being prepared and lack of being excellent, not that kind of failure. I'm talking about failure because you're just stretching yourself and you're doing hard things and you're doing things out of your comfort zone. So you might fail at them, but that's okay because you're growing and you're learning in the process. And failure, it provides information and motivation, and it points you to the place and the progress that you want to have. And depending on your perspective of failure, it can even it could either move you toward or away from your goal. But if you see failure as a chance to learn and a chance to grow and a chance to get better, it's just going to be a natural part of your journey to success. Because success is just a constant stream of small and big failures. And we must respect that. We have to respect that. And we can't see failure always in negative terms. Just like wine gets better with age, we get better with failure. We become more attractive people when we fail, because then we have stories to tell, because you don't have a story to tell until something goes wrong. And then you have good stories. But success and failure are like peanut butter and jelly. They go together. They go together. So expose your goals and your dreams to failure and just immediately work through the failures and the flaws and grow from that. But we do embrace failure, you guys, and we view it as an opportunity to grow. Okay, number 9, we're wrapping it up here. Number 9 is that we have crystal clear vision. Crystal clear vision. Leaders are clear on their why, and they let that why be their daily motivation. And leaders know that they do now what most people won't, because they want to enjoy for the rest of their life what most people can't. And usually you don't have a willingness to do now what most people are unwilling to do unless you have a clear vision and a clear why. And you're letting that and keeping that in front of you on a daily basis so that it is your source of motivation every day. Your vision, I learned this from Andy Stanley's book, Visioneering, that vision is the tension. It's the tension between what is in your life and what could be and what should be. And it usually addresses a problem or a concern. And so you see a void or a problem or a concern in your life or in others' lives. And the vision isn't the problem. The vision is the solution to the problem and leads to what could be and what should be. And I really believe God has a plan and a vision for all of us that we have to have a willingness to step into. And you guys, if the Almighty God of this universe has a plan for what you should do with your life, you should really get in on that plan and have a level of obedience to that plan that you're willing to move towards that. So leaders are clear on their vision. They are crystal clear. And then number 10, we are all in, and quitting is not an option for us. We are all in, and quitting is not an option. And it's hard to be successful and work at Mary Kay when you've got one foot in and one foot out. You're kind of just like sitting on the fence. And if it works out, great. And if it doesn't, you're going to go the other way. And if you notice or sense that failure might happen, you can just bail and do something else that you can succeed at. And the option to quit just always exists because you want to protect yourself from that failure. But for leaders, quitting is not an option, and they are all in. And the really tricky thing about chasing down your vision is that all the while, you guys, you're going to be, most likely, not everyone, but I think a lot of people who chase down big goals are sort of haunted by a fear that this thing you're investing so much of yourself into just may not work out at all. And just to be completely transparent, you guys, every single goal that I've worked towards in Mary Kay, every single one, there was always that nagging fear that it wouldn't ever really happen. There's that voice saying, like, you don't really have what it takes. What do you think you're doing trying to do this? But instead of promoting that fear, I made the choice to be all in anyways. And I didn't cave to that fear and those voices in my head because I knew that they were a lie and that fear is a lie. And I intentionally chose to be all in anyways, despite the fear, despite the voices in my head that said I didn't have what it took, and despite the cancellations, the no's, the rejection, the people who quit along the way, the disappointments along the way, the failures along the way, because those were all a part of my journey. Despite that, I just woke up every day and said, I'm going to be all in again today. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it again today. And it was a tough choice to make, tougher on some days than it was on others. But it's going to be a choice you have to make on a daily basis to be all in. Because you don't like soar a parachute. You're either in the plane or you're out of the plane. And you're never like sort of pregnant. You either are pregnant or you are not pregnant. And the same with pursuing your vision. You guys, you don't like soar to chase down a vision. You're not like one foot in, one foot out. No, you have to be all in despite the fear. Both hands, both feet, heart over the line for that goal. And I talk to women all the time who seem to have a God-given vision but are unwilling to commit both hands and both feet, and therefore unwilling to be all in and unwilling to pursue a vision that possibly God gave to them. So get off the flipping fence if you're on the fence. Like if you're on the fence with one foot in and one foot out, like get off the fence, because nothing exciting happens on that fence, I promise you. And all in is the only way you can roll when pursuing your God-given vision. And she who shrinks from the challenge spends her life wondering what could have been or what should have been. And to live that life of regret is just a life I don't want to live, and I believe it's a life you don't want to live. You guys, so check your heart. As I wrap this up, check your heart. Are you really all in for the plan God has for you and for the vision He has given to you? And if you to be all in, how would you work and what daily choices would you make if you were all in? Because that is who we are and that is how we roll.